Hello, I am so glad that you signed up for a little bit of summer work to help your kids stay refreshed as they build up to second grade. I wanted to walk you through kind of what is being sent home, and what each kid has might be different based on what they need in order to thrive in second grade. But I will walk you through some of the main things that got sent home just so you know what you're receiving and what to do with it. So on the front here, this is kind of an outline for the 8-week program, and it will cover all of the different phonics skills that we learned this year in first grade. So this is the main guide for the summer program. So as you can see, this is what week 1 looks like, and we're going to go down the columns. So on Monday, the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to read a fluency check, and it tells you which one to look for. Obviously, you're familiar with this, but you're going to count how many words they read, subtract how many words were incorrect to give you the total words correct per minute. And at the end of the week, it'll be fun because you can kind of see their progress. The next thing that you're going to want to find is the phonics flashcards. So here's your fluency check. They're stapled together, everything for the entire program. The next thing is the phonics flashcards. So you're going to say, what do these phonics patterns say? And you're going to time how long it takes to get through the whole stack. When you cut them out, this stack is pretty hefty, but it should be super quick to go through. So, per, st, nk, a. So you're going to want to go through it and write down which ones they've got incorrect so you can practice those later and time how long it should take altogether. The next part of the program requires no materials. You're going to use chopper hands like this. And the instruction is, I say the word and you chop the sounds. So you're going to tell the student flap, and they will go ooh, ap, slid, s, ooh, id, glop, g, ooh, op. And you're going to be checking to see that they find all of the correct sounds. This skill is really important because it's the foundation for spelling, but also for reading and sounding out words on their own. So we are working down the Monday column. I'm going to flip to the next page of the Monday column. On this, you will need a small whiteboard. So let me grab mine. And if you don't have a whiteboard, a piece of paper would work as well. It's just kind of nice for the student to be able to erase and correct their work. All right, so here we go. Write the first word, chop it out. So the first word you're going to give the student is flap. Ooh. Ah. P. All right, we've written flap. If I want to change flap to flag, what do I need to do? Flap to flag. And at this point, you're wanting the student to do all of the writing, and hopefully they can identify what you need to change. And on the paper, I've bolded it for you so you can easily talk about how P would change to G. And then you're going to continue down the whole row. How do I change flag into flat? Again, this is the student doing the writing. You're just checking their work. So that is word mapping. You're going to do about 5 or 6 words every day, and they're going to get continually harder. Next up is sight word flashcards. So for some students, I've sent home a packet with about 50 of the most common and most important sight words moving into second grade. So please take the time to cut these out. It's really important that all of these are completely mastered by the time they go to second grade. And same exact process as the phonics flashcards. Time how long it takes to get them all correct. And if it's incorrect, just add it to the back of the stack and keep going. And make sure to record the ones that they've gotten incorrect just so you can be working on those ones with them. All right, if you've saved any of the phonics books from this year, now would be a great time to read through the phonics books. If you don't have them, any other book will do. This is kind of just a reading break so that they have time to unwind. Next up, you're going to hop right back into the fluency checks. So you are going to read the same passage as before. Again, words read minus the words incorrect to find the total per minute. They're used to reading this twice a day because we would read it in class and you would be reading it at home. So make sure you do both of them to help them improve. The next thing you're going to find is a phonics game. So let me slide on over. This is the phonics game for week 1, Blends, and it should be titled, everything here is organized. And there are some instructions. These are all games that you can play with materials that you have at home. And it's a fun way for students to be sounding out words and practicing their phonics, but it's just going to feel like a game. And what I love about this is that the quality time that you guys will be able to spend together is really important for them as well. All right, after the game, it's time to do some encoding. So you're going to clap the syllables, count each sound, and again, write it on the whiteboard. So here we go. You're going to give them the word blacktop. Clap the syllables. Blacktop. All right, so we know we have 2 syllables. Blacktop. Let's look at that first syllable and sound it out, counting all the sounds. Black, b, l, a, k, b, b, l, a, k. Okay, next syllable. Black, top, 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 t, up. So this is called encoding, and it's the process of sounding out a word in order to spell it. So it's kind of the reverse of decoding, which would be reading this based on what we know. We're going to try to write it based on what we know. And there are some notes here. You're going to go through all of the 5 or 6 words. Again, the student is writing there. Next up is sentence dictation. So you are going to read a sentence. The student's job is to listen to the sentence, pound out the words in the sentence, and then chop each sound in the word. The flat blue flag flips in the wind. The flat blue flag flips in the wind. All right, so I know all of the words that I need. Now it's time to sound them out, and that is when the student would work to write each word in the sentence. You can repeat it verbally as many times as they need, because these are a little bit longer. All right, we're moving on to the very last page of week 1, because we can see we're approaching week 2. Sentence stretch. Student is going to write on whiteboard or paper. And I've actually included this in your packet, I believe, perhaps not. Yeah, this one is just going to be for whiteboard or paper. So you are going to write as the adult, the glad kids play. The glad kids play. Now, we want to have a conversation with the student about how this is kind of like a kindergarten sentence. We're needing to move to the point where our sentences have 5 to 8 words so that they sound more detailed. So I've written for each of these sentence stretch days some conversations that you could have about adding. So the glad kids, we already have an adjective, so we know who it is. Did what? The glad kids play. How did they play? Maybe on the slide? Where was it? At the big park? When? On a hot day. Ooh, the glad kids play happily. Why? Because school is out. So it's important that you're not just giving them these answers. These are just ideas, and it's really great to have the kid do the thinking of how to add more detail. This is something that's really difficult for a lot of students at this age level, but it's something that they will definitely need in 2nd grade. So make sure that they're doing the heavy lifting on thinking. And those are just some ideas to guide the conversation for you as the adult. All right, then the last one, this is in your packet. Each day you are going to have a different style of writing. This is the last main thing for the day. It is in your packet, so I'm looking at my week 1 packet. The first thing is a narrative. So I've given a little prompt. Write about something you did this weekend. So they're going to say who was there, what happened, where did it happen, and when. So this would probably be a write-in for this weekend. You're going to tell me what happened first, next, then, or any of these temporal words. And then you're going to end with a conclusion saying, this weekend when we did blank, it made me feel, or I hope I get to do it again, or when I got home, I was so tired I fell asleep right away. And then they're going to want to turn that narrative into a final draft. So that is for Monday. On Tuesday, the writing style is opinion. Here's the prompt. What is more fun, a slide or a swing? So here's what they need. They need to make up their mind and decide if a swing or a slide is more fun. They need to give 3 reasons. Each of these is a sentence and a conclusion. All right, Wednesday's writing is informational. Look up crabs on books, websites, or videos. So you're going to write all about crabs. Again, they're going to need a topic sentence, 3 facts, each of these are their own sentence, and a conclusion. On Thursday, the writing style is retell. So you get to read any book together and spend some time discussing the plot, the characters, setting, problem, solution, events, and you can tell me what happened first, next, then, and last. And then finally, our writing style on Friday is procedural. The prompt for week 1 is, how do you make your favorite snack or lunch? And then here's what you're going to do. So you're just going to, how to make a quesadilla. Here are the steps to making a delicious quesadilla. And then they're going to give all of the steps that they need. All right, so that is a glimpse at week 1. Every single week will follow a similar format. Coming home, you will have 8 different stapled weeks, all in the exact same structure, which means a lot of writing is going to be happening this summer, and that is what's going to get them absolutely ready for 2nd grade. There is a few other things that might be coming home with some students related to math flashcards and math games. So if you have any questions on those, feel free to email me. The students should know how to play one of them, which is bump. We play that in class. The instructions say to use Unifix cubes, but you really could use 8 of any object. Even pieces of cereal would work. And then really importantly, I want families to spend some time looking at place value over the summer, which can be done using lots of fun objects. We've got the template in there, and then some other fun ways that you can practice working with numbers, even in the car as you're driving places or as you're walking through the grocery store. So parents, please take some time to look through these. And of course, reach out if you have any questions. I hope you have a fabulous summer, and I'm so proud of all the students this year for all of their growth and hard work. So thank you for making it a successful year. Have a good one.